This man is John Wick, avenging the death of his dog, stabbing people with pencils. He deserves your money. And then I sat through John Wick 4 and I felt like I was being punished. I felt like the 3 hours of non-stop punching and shooting were penance for my own sins. Alright guys, I know I talk about a lot of things on this channel, but this is urgent. Please don't take your date to watch John Wick 4. Hey y'all, Snarky J Cosplay here. Recently, I was invited to an early screening of John Wick 4. Of course, that is out as of the time of this recording today. Now, I know the John Wick series is huge. It's been going on for years, it's a huge action franchise, and of course, who doesn't love Keanu Reeves? He's the sweetest guy in the world, and the whole thing starts off because of his dog. Who doesn't love dogs? Like, that is one cause I can 100% get behind. But I need you guys to know that John Wick 4 is not a compromise or a date night movie. And we're gonna go ahead and get into that. First and foremost, I wanna preface this with the fact that I'm not an action movie type of gal. I don't typically get behind action movies. There's something about long, drawn-out fight and shooting sequences with so little plot woven in to sort of hold the haphazardly written story together that just make me want to shoot myself. Can you see where I'm going with this? A few months ago, on an unfortunate date, I actually watched the first John Wick. Again, I'm not into action movies, but for what it was, I thought it was great. I didn't know that it was because they killed the dog that his wife gave him, so I was all for it. I was on this journey with him. And even though it wasn't my type of movie, I could understand, yeah, this is a good movie. Like, this is a movie that even if you're not super into action movies, you could sit down and be entertained and not feel like you were being punished. I'd only seen bits and pieces of John Wick 2 and 3. And in talking about the other John Wick movies with my dad, who is a committed action movie junkie, my grandfather also loves action movies. Like, that's all he does in the evenings. They love action movies, and they even told me that the last John Wick 3, felt like too much. But I said, no. Ye of little faith, you are denying Keanu Reeves the real respect that he deserves. This man is John Wick, avenging the death of his dog, stabbing people with pencils. He deserves your money. And then I sat through John Wick 4 and I felt like I was being punished. I felt like the 3 hours of non-stop punching and shooting were penance for my own sins. And this is where I get into the point of this video. As I mentioned, despite what my dad and grandfather had warned me about with the John Wick franchise, because I liked the first one, I was hell-bent on seeing exactly what John Wick 4 had to offer. And I can tell you this, if you are a fan of the John Wick franchise, oh my god, you are in for such a treat. You are going to love this. This movie is insane. Like, literally. The action is fantastic. It is non-stop. It is mayhem. It is start to finish frantic firefights. It's insane. I mean, I honestly was like panting by the time it was over. I felt like I had been on that ride with Keanu Reeves. I was tired just watching him. And if that's what you love, because that's basically what the John Wick franchise is, let's let Keanu Reeves do a bunch of really cool stunts and find interesting ways to kill bad guys, you'll love it. John Wick 4 is an adventure. It is fantastic. You are going to love this film, and it is a fantastic entry into the John Wick franchise. There's incredible performances. Keanu Reeves plays John Wick the way he always has, sort of soft-spoken and raspy in a Clint Eastwood type of way. Of course, Lawrence Fishburne is over the top and incredible, and Bill Skarsgård for me is actually the highlight of this film. He plays our new villain known as the Marquis, and he is absolutely iconic. This film really lets him strut. And beyond that, the cinematography in this film is gorgeous. Most of it takes place in Paris, and you're gonna want to book a flight over there immediately because of all the iconic sights that are shown. It's a really, really great movie in that regard. So if you're a John Wick fan and you really want to see that cinematography directed by Chad Stahelski, you're going to love it. However, I am saying that John Wick enjoyers are going to live and die for this movie. Your casual moviegoer, it's not for you, man. it's not for you. I am part of the casual moviegoer. Like, I do reviews, but I don't love action movies, so I don't really review those here. I was just there because I said, you know what? John Wick 1 was good. The bits and pieces that I've seen of the other two, solid. Let's go for it. Let's watch John Wick 4. It was the longest 3 hours of my life. It's a 3-hour movie, guys. 3 hours where your average shooting sequence is like 8 minutes. And the scenes with like some real plot are actually really interesting. And that's where the real pain comes from, because every once in a while there was a sequence that I was like, oh man, this is delicious. These characters are over the top in like a very comic book style way. And as somebody who reviews a lot of superhero stuff, this is fantastic. Give me more of it. I love it. And then it would devolve into like 17 minutes of shooting where I'm wondering why John Wick hasn't run out of bullets 17 other times. I'm feeling tired, my ears are hurting. It's worse than going to the range if you watch it in IMAX. That's how loud and tiring this is. It's not for you if you don't like John Wick. Don't convince abuela, don't call up your mom, don't call up Pedrito, don't call fulano, don't take anybody that isn't super into John Wick. Like, this is not for them. This is not a compromise movie. This is not a date night movie. This is something that if you take a partner, if you take a friend, if you take the girl that you just started talking to on Bumble and you're really hoping it's gonna go somewhere tonight, don't take her to watch John Wick. She's gonna resent you for it, and she's gonna wanna kill you afterwards. And unfortunately, because you've taken her to watch John Wick, she now has a lot of different ideas on how to do it. Don't make anyone who isn't a fan of this franchise sit through that movie. Again, as I said, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. If you like John Wick, you are going to love it. Chef's kiss. This ain't it for anybody that isn't fully on board with John Wick and his story. And that's all from me. I've been Snarky J. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on John Wick 4 in the comments below.